Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Jonnychipz Weekly. This is episode number 16. It is Friday the 16th of April 2021. Let's jump straight on in. So hey everybody, and welcome to another episode. Thanks for tuning in once again. So it's Friday. It's been another hectic week. I don't know about you guys, but yeah, it's just been non-stop action-packed. Lots of work going on at the moment. Lots of things to do, customers to speak to, things to learn, and obviously community efforts to be taken care of. So yeah, had a fun week again this week. Lots going on. Without further ado, let's just jump straight on over to the Azure updates. So again, it's been another bumper week. I think we've had over 30 updates this week. So I'm going to go through them one by one. But I think generally speaking, I'm not going to, as usual, I'm not going to dig too deep into every one. But I'm just going to take a first glance. Let's see what we've got going on. Okay, first up, we've got general availability of Azure Sphere version 21.04. So that's expected in a few weeks' time. So there's an update to Azure Sphere OS. We've got user data through Azure Instance Metadata Service has now gone GA. We've got event source start options in Azure Time Series Insights Gen 2. That's gone GA. Azure Automation support for system assigned managed identities has gone into public preview. Okay. Apache Spark 3 is now in public preview for in HD Insight 4.0. Support for multiple currencies on Retail Rates API for all Azure products and services is in public preview, so pretty cool. Cognitive services, so there's new computer vision API 3.2 has now gone generally available, so it looks like they've got, which is something that I've been recently playing with, but it looks like they've got a new and improved image tagging model. Updated content moderation, so detects presence of adult content and filters, flags and things like that, so cool. OCR read is available for 73 languages and also available as a distroless container. That's interesting. Cool. Okay. Next up, we've got general availability. Log Analytics Workspace name and uniqueness is now per resource group. Okay, cool. So makes a bit of sense there, I guess, rather than it being a unique name as it was before. It's just per resource group. Cool. GA. New Azure policy built-in definitions for data encryption in Azure Monitor. Okie doke. We've got public preview functions upgrade in Azure Monitor Log Analytics. Another public preview for cognitive services. Anomaly detector now supports multi-variate anomaly detection. I'm not going to profess to know what that means. I'm sure it's really interesting and I need to understand some of those words a little bit better. But that's cool. Reduce data flow execution time with cluster reuse is in public preview for Azure Data Factory. Okay, so we've got Microsoft Build Open JDK is in public preview. We've got SAP NetWeaver in North Europe and new updates in cluster monitoring has gone to public preview. This is an interesting one. So we've got the nesting capabilities for IoT Edge has gone GA. So basically being able to create those kind of hierarchy of nested edge devices. So those edge devices that contain those modules and those containers for your business logic and obviously other functions. So that's cool that you can now nest those. Azure SQL J updates for 2014. Let's just have a read. So service-aided subnet configuration for SQL managed instance now makes use of service tags for UDF, so user-defined routes. Okay. Public preview. Database for Postgres, SQL, hyperscale. Same region, these replicas in public preview. Not a data person, but I think I'm understanding where they're going with that. Okay, and another one. So there's basic in public preview, and yeah, another one. So maintenance schedule. So they're adding quite a few features to this Postgres SQL. This is quite an interesting one. So MSIX App Attach has been around for quite a while now in public preview. Essentially. Primarily, I got wind of this obviously with use with WVD, the ability to kind of containerize your applications and attach them to your WVD desktops on login, essentially. So you've not got those images built in and baked into the, those applications aren't installed into your gold image or your VM image. They're attached using this this great technology, MSIX app attach. So that's gone GA. That's really good to see. So it's great technology, and I've had a little play with that myself. So cool to see. Azure machine learning VS Code integration. Cool. That's gone to public preview. Interesting. Might have to have a little look at that. GA encryption at host support in AKS. Azure API management support for availability zones is now generally available. And we've got some feature updates for IoT Central for March 2021. So things like filter jobs on reported properties, export device lifecycle and device template events, application usage monitoring, and just some general documentation improvements by the looks of things. IoT Central is something that I obviously in my studies with for the AZ220 exam, I've been having quite a good play with and set up some demos and working through it. It's such a powerful platform. I think really I'm putting a lot of big bets on this. Certainly when it comes to IoT solutions, just the ability to kind of have that out of the box, that platform as a service IoT Central offering that you can build your business applications and monitoring and reporting for IoT devices. It's a pretty cool feature that I'm certainly going to be investigating and using as much as I can possibly get to. So GA Luster. Don't know what that is. Hit me up. So hierarchical storage management. Tools are available to import from or export to Azure storage. Okay, cool. So I'm not too sure. I'm guessing this is a third party. OpenFS Luster. I have to read a bit more about that. Cool. Yeah, IoT Edge 1.2 release is now generally available. So there's basically some enhancements to the product as you'd expect with any feature release. So I think on my Edge device, I'm running a little Jetson Nano. I think I'm running 1.1. I've certainly got 1.0 on there. So yeah, I will certainly be digging into this a little bit more. So there's Edge Identity Service integration with on-prem PKI infrastructure. That's pretty cool. So I know that for that attestation methodology, so that ability for the Edge devices to essentially authenticate and communicate with things like IoT Hub, you can use kind of like a pre-shared key, which is great for demos and smaller environments. But any kind of production grade platform, you should probably be looking at some kind of PKI certificate based authentication mechanism. So that is pretty cool, the fact that there's on-prem PKI integration. So I'm going to have a little look at that. And store inserts in HSMs, ability to configure nested hierarchy, which we saw earlier is now gone GA. And there's a generic MQTT broker that's gone into public preview. So a bit more reading for me there, I think, but that's pretty cool to see. I spotted this the other day as well. As your Maps weather service has now gone GA. So, if you've spotted Azure Maps, essentially it's that kind of service to offer map functionality into your application. So it looks as though Microsoft have brought in this weather service, which is pretty cool. So you can kind of see some of the key features there. Things like getting a weather tile app to API, so you can produce kind of those overlays and tile definitions of what the weather is in a particular location. Current conditions, minute by minute forecasting, hourly forecasting, quarter day forecast, daily. There's lots. So severe weather alerts, weather along routes, if you're kind of using that map service for some kind of a commute type application. But cool. I mean, it's just brilliant things that are getting released at the moment, certainly around those sort of development and IoT and things like that. So cool. GA, Azure Blob Storage, supports objects up to 200 terabytes in size. Yeah, I mean, it's cool to see. Again, I saw this when it got released a few days ago, and it's just phenomenal to see the kinds of things that you can now just basically just get put into a storage account, and the support for individual objects to be so large. Now available Log Analytics Windows Agent for winter 2021, now GA. Cool, okay. We've got another public preview announcement of Azure STIG solution template. So STIG meaning Security Technical Implementation Guide. So to accelerate compliance for DoD, so obviously Department of Defense. Cool. So they're just they're offering further and further support for these things. And finally, we've got Azure Active Directory B2C in Australia is available in public preview. So again, I thought I'd read through those. For a lot of those sort of announcements, they're a first look for me. I've not had a chance this week to kind of look and keep up, other than what I've seen on socials, people sharing some of these updates, which is obviously great to see. There's plenty going on in the space at the moment, but that's the Azure news and updates for the time being. So let's go back over and let's talk the Welsh Azure user group. So we had our last virtual meetup last night, and it was a great session, brilliant session. Thanks to all that attended. Obviously, huge thanks to the speakers. It was really good fun. Again, I love doing these monthly meetup sessions. If you're watching this and you're wondering what they're all about, come and join us. I mean, jump on, follow us on Twitter, go onto the meetup group, subscribe, follow us, join in. It's such a good fun. So we had Anair Ganguly talking about Kubernetes, a great presentation of how he works with Cognizant, how he's implemented AKS for universities in the area, and really how the architecture, how he's put it all together, how he's learned all that through the last couple of years, his journey through learning Kubernetes. Vukasin came on then and talked us through some great tips, hints and tips on how to kind of produce those professional looking Azure video diagrams. Like myself, I work in Azure architecture and cloud architecture. We do spend a lot of time, doing this kind of job, doing these kinds of architectural diagrams. And if you're familiar with Visio at all, I don't know about you, but I sometimes find it really tricky. You join in lines, you're moving objects, and before you know it, you've ruined your diagram. Is my experience. That's probably just me, but great session from Vukasin. Thanks so much for joining us and kind of giving us some great hints and tips. I actually downloaded the Chrome add-in for the icon grabber. So if you're wondering what that is, look back, jump into the YouTube, have a little look back at the video and have a look at Vukasin's session. Some great info. Then our very own Matt Fatonka, he came on, gave a great demo around the REST client, the integration that you get with VS Code now, and basically for kind of API creation, API development, just showed us how to really use it. Some of the great hints and tips around using the integration client, the REST client integration extension, I should say, for VS Code, and kind of doing some of these calls. Some great hints and tips on how to kind of keep your authentication in place, switch sort of development, production, or QA kind of environments to run similar queries using REST calls. So brilliant session. These were all lightning talk sessions, these first three, and they're just so engaging. You can watch them, like I say, watch back on them and you pick up those hints and tips. And then we had what we're calling the feature length talk. So it's kind of like that 45-minute to an hour talk. And, my good friends, Peter Gallagher, Liam Gulliver again, they jumped onto the session. And as you'll know, if you follow me, I've been following those guys for quite a while now. And certainly Pete with the development of the robot arm, and then what Liam has done in terms of bringing that in using, ADO, using Azure to kind of publish that as a web app. It's really one of those solutions that kind of gives you that end-to-end view. So the guys came on last night onto the user group and kind of gave us that walkthrough from, soup to nuts, essentially, from looking at the detail of the code, how to 3D print the robot arm, all of that stuff, right the way through to actually creating the actual application, the Blazor, WASM, SignalR application front end, pushing that to Azure and actually controlling the arm. So we had, watch it back, but it's quite funny. I don't think I've laughed so much, but we had the group basically controlling the robot arm over the internet. Everybody could get on and control it. So the arm's going a bit crazy, and I know Pete was struggling. And then we went on to actually showing some of the developments that Peter's done with using the Oculus Quest, so the VR, the virtual reality headset, and actually viewing the control of that robot arm through that medium. It's pretty cool stuff. So huge thanks to all the speakers. Really enjoyed that session last night. If you did miss it, either jump onto the YouTube below. It'll be there it is in the YouTube, so you can watch that back at your leisure. Some really great sessions in there, and go for it, have a little look. Some great fun and prizes. We'll get to that in a second, but thanks again. Our next meetup. So our next meetup is on the 20th of May, and this got announced last night, but we have effectively we've got 2 lightning talks. So we've cut it down slightly. We were thinking of having 3, but because we are going for this virtual Azure data center tour, which is pretty cool, really excited to kind of see this. That's quite a lengthy session in its own right. But again, we didn't want to, we wanted to keep that mix of, having a few sort of lightning talks, because I think they're a fantastic format. We're getting some really positive feedback from the group on these. So really excited to have Peter Tender to come in and talk to us around, all these different acronyms around ACR, AKS, DCK. He's calling it the container alphabet soup. So really looking forward to that session from Peter. So obviously thanks for Peter to come and do that for us. And then we got Wim Matheson, another really prevalent guy in the community. Really excited to have Wim come and talk at the group, because he's such a great guy. He runs his own user group, which have fantastic sessions. He is going to come and talk to us around Azure Advisor. So as he puts it, your own free personal in-house cloud consultant. So that's going to be a pretty cool session as well. Like I say, 2 lightning sessions, then we go into the virtual data center tour. Really excited for that session next month. So 20th of May, stick it in your diary, save the date. Jump over to the Meetup group or follow us on Twitter, get the link, go and RSVP to that, so you'll be reminded that it's on. It's fantastic. So yeah, like I say, last night was really good. If you follow the Twitter, there, we basically run a little bit of a tweet to win competition. So we had our merch. The group had our merch delivered. Huge shout out and thanks to Admiral and Servant for that. But we've got hoodies, we've got stickers, we've got t-shirts. So we thought we'd put a few up for grabs last night. We did a little bit of a tweet and win competition. So if you follow in the Twitter thread, sorry for all the noise, but it's just a bit of good fun. So we asked everybody to share their favourite tech swag. So we've got Pete there with his Oculus on. We've got Dave giving us stickers. Who doesn't love a sticker? I think I joked with somebody not so long ago that I'm going to have to start making my own stickers, get my own pens and socks and badges, because I haven't been to these events for such a long time now, as we've all been stuck in. But some great photos. There's Pete with the robot arm there, and like I say, you can check that session out. It's brilliant. What else we got? So yeah, this is Pete's session. Matt's session about the REST client. We got Tom there giving us a little bit of a flash of his favourite tech. I think I've got one of those little penguins. Oh, he's just had a shot in my camera, but yeah. Forget his name, that penguin. And the Seuss lizard. He's a lizard or chameleon. Dean showing us his tech teddies, and his ultra wide monitor, of course, with a nice session from an airband there on AKS. What else have we got then? So yeah, scrolling down, Vukasin, like I say, there's his contact details, Visio diagrams. And there's an airband session on AKS. You can see that architecture there. I mean, it's just such a great way of visualizing. These diagrams are great anyway. So it's just really cool to see that Vukasin was talking about how you create Visio diagrams. You had an airband on showing pretty comprehensive high-level diagram there, which is cool. Nice beard, Jack. Yeah, Jack came on. His favorite tech content is his beard that he's grown in lockdown. Pretty cool. So like I say, get involved. It's such a good fun environment to be in. Really proud to be part of the group that works with getting these events set up, and obviously associated with Admiral and Servant. It's really going well at the moment. So there we go. There's our Welsh Shore user group update. So like I say, thanks to everybody, and I genuinely mean that. Huge thanks to everybody that takes the time out, because we all know how precious time is, and obviously to jump on a call from 6:30. We've all got family, kids, food to cook and eat and other priorities. But we get a great turnout from these events, and hopefully everybody's having fun joining them. Okay, onwards. A little bit of a community call out. So not huge this week, to be honest with you. I've been pretty busy this week doing some study. We'll get to that in a second, but I wanted to call out a few sort of community links here. So congratulations and well done to the Cloud Management User Group. So Dean Ellaby, Andy Jones, and Simon Lee, they're just three of the guys that kind of help get this user group off the ground. They had their first session this week that I had to join from the car, but it was really great. I mean, it was really good. Two great talks. This is a link here, so if you follow them on Twitter, you can go and rewatch the session. But the one thing that at the end, so we had some talks from Zimperium. Just it's really around that end device management, the cloud management. So it was really focused around security, pretty much this session. But after the session, they pushed over to, I can never pronounce it, never remember, but it's Topio, I think it's called. So it's a really cool environment where you kind of join and you can move your little avatar around. And as you get closer or move further away from people, their videos and volume you can see there, Richard was kind of fading away. I think it was probably so I'm stood here, Richard was stood there. You can see it's just pretty cool. So really interested to see how the guys use that. And I might try and look at something to use that on, because I think it's a pretty interesting concept. So yeah, huge congrats, well done to those guys. Tune in for their next session next month. It's great. Onwards, Azure Live. So Wordtell and Intercepted set up the Azure Live sessions this week. I think I've probably managed to join bits and pieces of sessions, but I mean, it's brilliant to see. I mean, there's some prevalent people in the community that obviously either work at Intercept or associated and have really delved into kind of making this event a success. I've been seeing all the fantastic tweets about sessions going on, and I certainly want to go back and start watching a few. It's that age-old thing, isn't it? There's such fantastic content out there, and sometimes I feel it's a shame that I'm not consuming it, because there's brilliant people out there giving some brilliant talks and insights. And I just wanted to call Azure Live out, because obviously it's I believe it's a new thing that like I say, Wordtell and Intercept have kind of joined together to produce this. So if you've not seen that, go and follow them. I'm sure there will be some links maybe to videos. Don't quote me on that, I'm not 100%, but I'll be chasing up later, having a little look around and seeing if I can find the content. But just wanted to call that out, because it's great to see. This week, okay, on a slightly skewed note, but highly relevant, highly related, NvidiaGTC. So their global conference for 2021 was this week, an entire week of AI, machine learning, IoT, edge devices, 5G. It's mind blowing. I think it's probably probably safe to say. So I watched the keynote with Jensen Huang. So obviously he's the CEO, founder of NVIDIA. It's very inspirational. Some really key kind of ideas and concepts, and the future vision of where we're going with technology, and really how GPU plays into that, and why GPU plays into that, which is obviously where NVIDIA have come from, being a GPU manufacturer. Essentially, where they're going is really, really interesting to see. So, like I say, I managed to catch a couple of the sessions, and in particular, the bit closer to where I am personally at the moment is I caught Paul DiCarlo's session on, obviously Microsoft IoT and how they're working with in NVIDIA, and really that end-to-end, again, how you can set up IoT Edge or IoT devices, hook them in and have that end-to-end story. And obviously, again, if you've been following me, you'll know my story and see some of my blog and videos about that object detection, at the edge, and how that pushes through all the messaging and information flow from those devices into IoT Hub, streaming those onto things like time series insights and Power BI dashboards, and really consuming it and making things relevant from that data. So I'd encourage anybody to go, if you're interested in that area like I am, jump on, have a look at GTC, because like I say, there's some incredibly mind-blowing examples of what's going on in that world at the moment. And certainly from my point of view of how that kind of interacts with maybe not just Microsoft cloud platform, but of course with the other platforms like AWS and G-Cloud. But certainly, I've got a slight bias towards Microsoft at the moment, being that is my key area that I'm focused on. But great to see. So that was my community callouts for the week. Like I say, there's just some huge advances going on at the moment in the world of tech. So hopefully they kind of make a bit of sense to everybody, and you can go and have a little look-see and see what you think. Okay, final section of the show. We're up 25 minutes. I don't think I'm ever going to get these at 15 minutes, am I? Let's face it. I think you're just going to have to sit with me. Right. Jonnychipz on the side. So Jonnychipz on the side this week for me. First off, I hit 2,000 followers. Well, it was weird. I kind of hit 2,000 followers. I went above 2,000 followers. Apologies if I'm causing too much noise on Twitter with my tweets. So lost a few followers. So people are tweeting, oh, you're nearly at 2,000. Like, well, I was at 2,000. Whatever. Doesn't matter. But no, I mean, it's just great. I mean, it's not that you use metrics to kind of, you use metrics doing what I'm doing just to kind of see if what I'm doing is resonating with anybody else more often than not. So, am I the only one that thinks this way? The technologies I'm looking at, I'm trying to reach out and find like-minded people and obviously try and help share some of the ideas and thoughts that I've had and where I've got some of my information from, and, just create a bit of buzz and a little bit of enthusiasm. But huge thanks to everybody that does follow me on Twitter. It means a lot. There's some ramblings on Twitter, but equally, hopefully I'm putting some valid content out on there. So thanks, everybody. Thank you so much for following me. So on the side, huge thanks to everybody that joined us on the Azure Live channel last Friday. Super chat. Sarah is a fantastic sort of Microsoft Cloud advocate, community member. I mean, the content she creates, what she puts back into just for the community, and obviously IT pros like us to kind of consume, understand some of the ideas and the concepts that are coming out of Microsoft. She's a fantastic advocate and a huge, brilliant person at the end of the day. So huge thanks to Sarah for joining me. Great chat. If you haven't watched it, obviously jump onto my website, my blog, jonnychipz.com. Find the link or just have a look in the YouTube. It's all there. Like I say, thanks for that, Sarah. And as it's Friday, we've got another episode being released tonight. So we've got Rishab Kumar joining me for tonight's session. That's 6:30 British Standard Time, summertime. I never remember. BST. So 6:30 p.m. tonight, BST. We got Rishab on. So Rishab is one of the core team members of the 100 Days of Cloud Challenge. And again, for those of you that know me and have been following me for a little while, I actually did that challenge last year. So it's around committing, dedicating yourself to 100 days of learning something new about the cloud. So whether you're a complete newbie and a novice into the IT industry, whether you're branching to cloud for the first time, or whether you're a seasoned veteran with 15, 20 years experience, but you just want to try and force yourself and push yourself to learn something new, just to see where it goes. There is always something new to learn with the cloud. So Rishab was a huge supporter, a great guy to bounce ideas off. And I've been in contact with Rishab on and off over the last sort of 7 or 8 months. So I thought, all right, I want to get him on, have a chat with him, just because he's had his own journey, of course, as we all have. So great chat with Rishab, just to understand how he got involved with 100 Days of Cloud, what it meant for him, what certification he's taken and why, and obviously the role that he's fundamentally worked himself into in doing that. If you can join us tonight, please do. 6:30 BST. Join in the chat. This will be available after if you can't make the time, but that's tonight's episode, and it's great to see. To be honest, the In Conversation With series it's going really well. I mean, I'm quite mindful at the moment that a lot of the content, a lot of the discussions have been kind of centered around that learning journey, that DevOps story, that infrastructure as code, that effectively that transition as an ops person into the kind of DevOps world, if you want to call it that, using some of these toolings. So lately I've started branching out and speaking with tech pros around other areas. So, stay tuned on that, because, I had a conversation a few weeks ago around robotics and AI and autonomous cars. I've got chats coming up around sort of serverless, got chats around AI, and also setups. So setups, how do we record these videos and stuff like that? So I think I've got about 5 or 6 videos sort of recorded waiting to drop. So I'm really excited about that. So stay tuned, watch this space, so to speak. Other bits and pieces. So yeah, I mean, I did my oh my posh, my command line sort of interface look and feel. I saw Scott Hanselman's blog post on it a while back, and then Richard Hooper, aka Pixel Robots, I noticed he'd done a pretty cool theme, because his theme is kind of yellow and black, and he'd done a pretty cool theme, and it inspired me to go and do my own. So purple and blue, my little border, my light purple and blue just seems to be the colours that I've gone for. So I thought, I'll have a little go. So it's cool that you can use these Powerline fonts to add these kind of fire glyphs. They call them glyphs. So all these little objects, they're called glyphs, and they're sort of accessed via ASCII. I can't get my tongue tied by those codes, essentially, that point to a particular font. So you can do things like, show your username and your host name. You can put diamonds or shapes in there to kind of split up objects. We can show the Azure sort of subscription I'm logged onto, a little bit of a health check at a heartbeat. Have you done an error in your command? And then what OS, what your home drive is, what your location is, what your Git sort of branches, and what the state of your Git repo is. And that is a Terraform command there. So I'm using my default config in Terraform, but you can build these up using it's basically JSON format, using a config. If you do an Oh My Posh, I was going to open the window and I completely forgotten to, but check that post out. In fact, I think I mentioned it. Maybe I didn't. But Google Oh My Posh. There's I think it's ohmyposh.dev off the top of my head, but you'll find it. It's an open source thing. I might even create a pull request and submit my my config, because you can change the theme. People have already created themes. There are some default themes that you can use just to kind of jazz up your command line. I mean, this is PowerShell, but you can do it for your Ubuntu and Linux distros if you want to. The command line on there, just to kind of make your command line experience a little bit more kind of rich, I guess. So that's pretty cool. And finally, yes, this week has been all about AZ220 for me. So absolutely brilliant Pluralsight courses, as we know from Pete, James Miller, there's Jurgen, and there is I'm terrible at remembering names at the best of times, but there's basically the entire syllabus to meet the skills measure. I think there's 1 or 2 modules that I know a few of the guys have still got to complete at the moment, but there's certainly sort of 90 to 95% of the content available to watch on Pluralsight. So this is me this week. I kind of had a bit of a binge watch, rather than using Netflix, I use Pluralsight to binge watch and really cement some of the ideas and concepts I've been kind of learning hands-on, developing the edge device, kind of, using Paul DiCarlo's end-to-end solution to understand how the messaging and the routing works between the devices and IoT Hub. And then onwards to things like, storage accounts, stream analytics, time series insights. So really looking at that holistic picture, because there's lots of components and lots of things that you can join together, but understanding the landscape. And the Pluralsight courses have been a great way. Now, I got the exam book for next week. We'll see. I mean, it's a relatively, it's a pretty much completely new arena for me to kind of dip into. So I had to do some serious learning, I think it's probably fair to say. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully I'll pass it first time. If I don't, not the end of the world. We can always resit. But yeah, I'm on the fence at the moment about how I'm going to do. So I've got that exam book for next week. So this weekend is going to be a bit more study, see if I can really cement some of those ideas. There's a few little grey areas in there for me still, as we all have when we kind of study for exams. But that's pretty much where I am. So, it's all very much about the IoT for me at the moment. I put a tweet out this week as well, knowing that look, I'm not coming to the end of my IoT journey. I've just kind of done a little bit of a focused learning thing at the moment, and there are certainly areas that I want to delve into a bit deeper. And I think I put up, shall I go down the AI route? Shall I start my Kubernetes journey? So I know a few people in the community at the moment are looking to get onto that journey. I know Anais, a guest in conversation with, she's got fantastic YouTube content and a blog around the 100 days of Kubernetes. So we'll see. I think I'm leaning towards really getting stuck in with Kubernetes. I'm hoping I can kind of do a good amount of study and understanding over a few week period, rather than stretching out to be a month's worth of study like IoT is kind of I wouldn't say forced me, but I've enjoyed it so much that I've gone off in lots of different areas, and I've learned a heap of information and a heap of knowledge, and I've met some absolutely fantastic people along the way. So whether I do that with Kubernetes, whether I dip into the AI and machine learning a bit more, data is on the horizon. I think as an IT pro, and obviously my experience over the years, I've been fortunate to work with a mix of different projects and customers. So I've kind of dipped my toes into lots and lots of different areas. But it's just one of those things I'd like to know the deeper understanding and some of the deep dive information on some of these areas. So that's it for me. Thanks so much for sticking around and watching this episode. We're at the 35-minute mark, so if you have stuck around to the end, huge thanks. Like I say, I'd really appreciate some feedback for anybody that watches these videos, honest feedback, because I know at points this can be a little bit rambly, maybe from my point of view, but this is just me getting my thoughts and ideas out there, what I've been up to. Let me know what you think. Is there any ideas you've got that might be cool for me to kind of look into? Because I'm happy to change up the format of these videos. And like I say, what are we on? This is episode 16. So it's basically, this is 4 months I've been doing these videos for, weekly videos. And of course, I do the In Conversation with. So yeah, any thoughts, ideas, opinions, keep them nice if you can. Don't shout at me too much. But I really would appreciate them. If you want to drop me a note, let me know what you thought was good, bad. It just helps me kind of format things a bit different. And like I say, when I do these videos, I try and do them, end to end, and really show you things like the Azure updates. For a lot of those updates, it's the first time I'm reading those updates. Some of them I got wind of, some of them I'm absolutely aware of. But I think that's true for all of us. There's certain areas where we're focused on either for our own interests or for a particular project or a customer or the business we're working for. You're focused on specific areas. So I think we're all in the same boat in that regard, where we'll understand certain updates. We'll haven't got the foggiest clue what certain updates, as you can see from my reaction to some of them. It's words to me at the moment without spending that time and really understanding it. Some of these things can be difficult to kind of conceptualize and understand. Why has that changed, or what the benefit and what the importance is of that change? So hopefully, it's a bit of food for thought. Like I say, it's my thoughts and experiences and things that I'm up to at the moment. Drop me a line if there's anything you got to say. I'm all ears. But for now, huge thanks for sticking around and joining me. And until next week, I've been John Lunn, aka Jonnychipz, and thanks for watching.